Gotta stop.
There's always more to the story.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
And there's always more to say.
Don't ever bring that nonsense in here again.
When going too far feels closer.
Maybe I overdid it.
This space thrives on the restricted. This is the Restricted Area with Robert Guerra.
That's right, Restricted Area episode 6. And for the first time, we have our first guest of this inaugural season, none other than the incomparable, the immortal, FS1's finest, the King Movement founder, my guy, Chris Broussard. What's up, man?
What's up, man? Look, why didn't you ever give me those types of greetings on the Odd Couple, man?
Because you did your own intro.
Start the show. It was, my goodness. And I hate to tell you, Rob G, I'm backing you down. 2 dribbles, spin to the baseline, and I'm dunking on you in the restricted area.
Okay.
It's just gonna happen.
Well, I thank you for coming on. I've been bugging you for weeks now. I know that you're really busy, so I appreciate you popping on. Before we get to the NBA playoffs, because that's what the whole impetus of this interview is, congratulations, FS1, first things first, Emmy nominated.
Yes.
Now, you and I have been talking years ago, because one thing we did when we talk about a radio show, we talk about the business, and when we talk about your TV show. And I remember us talking then, and not because you work on the show or because I had friends with you, we would say, I think First Things First is like the best show out there. Right. And then now that it's Emmy do you feel vindicated? Do you feel like, see, I told y'all, you just didn't want to pay attention?
No, I mean, it's just a great honor. I think, as you know, and this is, I mean, you know me, I'm not like a braggadocious guy, other than maybe jokingly, but people have been saying that.
Mm-hmm.
You just see consistently in our comments, hundreds of people on social media and all this saying it's the best show out there. They've comparing it to like Inside the NBA with Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, so on and so forth, just because of the chemistry and all that. So that feels good that people really like it. I remember a few months ago, they had the top 10 sports shows on YouTube, and we were 4th. And we were 4th, and the only other show that was on TV in the top 10 was McAfee. And I think he was 3rd, but everything else was like, they had the Kelsey brothers.
Mm-hmm.
It was a few more, I can't remember, but all of them were like internet only.
Sure.
Which obviously you're gonna have higher rankings on the internet if you can't see it on TV.
Right.
So that was also a good little nod that the show is doing well. And then this Emmy, I hope we win it.
I hope you win it too.
Just say Emmy nominated, but to win it would really be sensational. So yeah, man, it's going well. I'm blessed. Definitely miss you guys on the Odd Couple, but it's a lot of fun on First Things First, and I'm glad it's going well.
Good. I'll tell you what, if you win, you have to finally update your social media bios.
You're right. Do I still have an Odd Couple on there? I probably still have an Odd Couple on there. I got to do that. I got to figure out how to do that first.
That's right.
If we win, y'all got to have me back on the show too.
Absolutely. 1,000%. 1,000%. Rob will be mad about it because, you'll have all the awards and stuff like that.
Exactly.
It'll be good.
He'll figure a way to put himself in there somehow.
All right. So getting to the NBA. Now, I think it was like 2 years ago where you caught some flack, where you said something to the effect of, if Victor Wembanyama's career is KD, AD, Olajuwon, it's a disappointment. Now that we're like 3 years in and you've seen what, not peak Wemby, but going towards peak Wemby looks like, do you still feel that way?
I don't think, I definitely feel that way. Mm-hmm. I think every basketball observer in the universe feels that way.
There you go.
Like, do because I think you pushed back, right?
Yes. Remember, we had a bet off the air and we said we should get one tall, lanky dude, and you got Wemby, I got Chet. So when Chet got the championship, I was like, oh, yeah. And then not so much anymore.
Championship or not, Chet might get one this year. You owe me a steak dinner, I'm sure. Whatever that bet was. Yeah, man. This dude, look, and everybody the GOAT. I'm Jordan, LeBron. I got LeBron second to Jordan. Wemby, if he stays healthy, he could make that debate irrelevant. I mean, make it for second place. Like, really, that is the potential of this guy. And he defensively, he's the best player I've ever seen. The only person I can, and that includes Elijah Wine and all these, great defenders we've seen, because he can get out on the floor and guard point guards and other guards, and obviously he protects the rim. He can defend the three and the rim
at the same time,
darn near the same way. Yeah. And so he is just defensively off the charts. I can only compare it, and I didn't see live Bill Russell, obviously. But I imagine, at that time, of course, the league wasn't as big. You had some big guys, but it wasn't as big as it is today. So Russell has some size. And you had, remember, there was the unwritten rule. You'd have maybe 3 or 5 black players on each team.
Right.
So you didn't have the best players in the world in the league at that time, or all of the best players. And so Bill Russell was obviously incredibly dominant defensively, and I bet he just totally changed the game when he got in there, and obviously was winning championships. I feel like this is a similar type impact to that. And ironically, he blocks a lot of shots and keeps them in play too. But the other thing, Rob G, is his offense. He is like a mixture of Kevin Durant and Giannis. Like, there's nothing he can't do offense. He can hit the mid-range. He can post. I want to see him post a little more, obviously. But he can hit the range. He can post. He can take you off the dribble. He can hit the three. And I think he's a better three-point shooter than his percentage shows, 35%. But you see him. I mean, you watch
he has good form. He has a good stroke.
Yeah. He's a good shooter. He obviously is a great free throw shooter. He's 80% and above. And he's got moves. Like, this is a 7'5" dude with moves. Like, so I just think as he matures, he's obviously not even to his prime yet. If he, and I don't know that his body will develop, but can you imagine because if you look at him and you look at Giannis at his age, somewhat similar frame.
Right.
If he physically develops like Giannis, it's a wrap. And it may be it's probably
a wrap either way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wrap either way. Right. And I'll tell you what, I've never liked the Spurs just because as I respected them, Duncan and all those guys, but they've been a relatively boring team. Ginobili and Parker were exciting players, but this, I love the Spurs now. And he's the linchpin, obviously, but Stephon Castle is a superstar in the making. Obviously, De'Aaron Fox is a very good and all-star caliber player. And, Dylan Harper. I mean, get your ring now. Now, Shay, but that's going to be a great rivalry. It's going to be Lakers. It's going to be Kobe, Shaq, Duncan, Ginobili, Parker. That, OKC, San Antonio is going to be the Lakers-Spurs rivalry of the early 2000s.
Oh, you know what's funny is I remember saying when they had a chance to get Giannis this offseason at the draft, I'm like, well, why wouldn't you get Giannis? You get Giannis and Wemby, and you'll shut down the paint forever.
Oh God!
But now you see that with the way the apron is, and you have all these young guys. The window, instead of it being 2 or 3 years, whatever it is with Giannis, it's like 5 or 6 because you don't have to pay any of these guys for 3 or 4 years. So
yeah, I'm with you, and I've shared some of that sentiment too about, man, go get Giannis. You're winning it this year, and now of course Giannis has been hurt too,
exactly.
And so that would have been a question. I think they definitely did the right thing. Now I think the team that made a mistake in not going to get Giannis was Houston.
Oh,
because Houston's window, you got Kevin Durant.
Right.
So the window is now. You might have 2-3 years, maybe. I mean, probably 2 years after this max. But that's fine because he's still playing well. Şengün, who I really like and I think is a great player, he plays though kind of like Giannis. Like Giannis can kind of run the point, like handle the ball, pass the ball. Neither is a great 3-point shooter, although Şengün's better than Giannis. They both drive to the basket and stuff. And so I feel like if I'm Milwaukee and I could get Alperen Şengün and Reed Shepherd or, some other talented, young player, I don't know, Jabari Smith, but maybe it's not even a Jabari Smith caliber, but say I would want Shepherd and Şengün. If I could get them in some picks for Giannis, I'm happy because Şengün and I think Shepherd in the East will eventually could build us up into a contender. And I don't think Şengün, though, from Houston's perspective, as good as he is, I don't think he's ever like going to be the best player on a championship team.
Right.
As great as he is. And so you go get Giannis. Can you imagine Giannis right now with KD? I mean, they are viable contenders to win the whole thing. And you keep Thompson, Amin Thompson, and some of the other guys. Like, I think they really miscalculated because they had the young talent and the draft picks to get him. And maybe they can this summer, but I thought they made a mistake.
Yeah, and then the Wemby thing, and the OKC thing changes the calculus altogether. If you're in the Western Conference, your idea of building out a team is so much different than it is in the East. Because in the East, you can be a little bit more patient if you have to.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of Giannis, he is one of the guys who is ineligible. We know for the 65-game rule, all NBA stuff. And just in the last 3 weeks, we've had Luka, Cade, who looked like they were both going to be first teamers or right on the periphery, and now Anthony Edwards. Now, I remember throwing out a tweet saying, how can you trust a guy like Chris Broussard to vote for all NBA and MVP and determine legacies and salaries and all that stuff, but you can't trust him to use like his brain and say, hey, a guy with 60 games versus 75 games, I can weigh the difference. And then you stole my take and he used it on TV. So how is this just like a complete backfire, a misstep, and unintended consequence by the end?
Yeah, and I think, we all agree. I don't remember what your take was when they put the rule in, but I was in favor of it. I think most people were because load management was getting ridiculous. But now it has worked as far as load management for the most part, but it's having this unintended consequence. And look, 60 in the however, the NBA has been around almost 80 years. In the history of the NBA, there have been 60 players who have made all NBA in 82 game seasons, not the strike shortened or truncated seasons, who have played 64 games or less. 60 players. And so that's obviously almost one a year. But remember, in the past, you also had first and second team All-NBA. You didn't even have third team All-NBA for most of the history of the league. So a lot of guys were making these teams by playing just 64 games, 60 games, whatever. So I actually think that Adam Silver should today, tomorrow, I actually originally said he should have done it in his mid-season, meeting with the media at All-Star Weekend, make a unilateral decision and eradicate the 65-game rule. Or if he feels like because of the CBA he can't do that, talk with the Players Association today.
Right.
And they obviously want to get rid of the rule.
Yeah, they put the whole statement out with Cade. Of course they want it out.
Right. You make it a joint decision if you need to and get rid of this rule because God forbid Wemby, I don't think he's hit the 64 yet. Jokic, I think, has to play a few more games. God forbid one of them, and there are a couple other players, Kawhi Leonard, who could be a second teamer or a third team. Like, it could get really messy and you start having guys that just should not be on the All-NBA team making All-NBA. And so, they need to change it. And to your point, just trust. Like, I've always taken games played into consideration. If one guy plays 78, another plays 74, that's not a big deal. But if a guy only played 58 games before this rule came into place, I would take that into consideration when looking at awards. And so, they should just trust the media and get rid of this rule. Like now, not for next year, now.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is to win the scoring title, you only need 58 games. So that doesn't make sense. And then the other thing is the rule does not apply to 6 man of the year, rookie of the year, all rookie or clutch player of the year. So it's not even a across the board mandate. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So just mentioned Luka. He's not unless he gets that exemption because of his kid being born. He's probably not going to make all NBA.
Which again is he's clearly should be a first teamer this year. And it did. And the thing is, and Nick Wright, my co-host on First Things First, makes this point. You know, when we're ranking, you know, players all time, you do look at things like
you have to
all NBA, because especially for like right now, we'll have this in our mind for the next few years. Oh, Luka didn't make it, or Cade didn't make it because of the 65 game rule that year. But 15 years from now, 20 years from now, when the people on air are looking at, you know, doing their rankings, who was the best of this era, they may look at this and see, oh, wow, Cade didn't even make all NBA that year.
Right.
Wow. You know, so, and they'll see he played, or Luka, he played 64 games. Wow. He must have, maybe he was, you know, I don't know why he didn't make it, but he didn't make it, and people will hold that against him.
Yeah. And well, quick tangent with that is with Wemby, we both think that he has all-time great potential. The issue is, can his body hold up?
Right.
So you might get to a point where, God forbid, 20 years from now, and you look at his resume, you're like, oh, he's got 2 championships or 3 championships, 3 all NBAs, 2 defensive players. You're like, no. But if you saw him play, he's so much more than that. He just didn't quite reach the threshold.
Right.
And he could be one of those guys where the resume doesn't line up with what you saw when you watched him because of this rule.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So Luka's hurt. Obviously, got to talk about the Lakers. They had quite possibly a day that'll live in infamy in NBA circles. They come in the hottest team one of the hottest teams in the NBA. They lose by 40, and their 2 leading scorers are now out for the season. Yeah. So I believe that with the way things have gone down, this is the worst case scenario, not just for the season, but because you only saw these guys play well for like 6 weeks. Right. And now you have to determine this offseason, am I going to max out Austin Reeves? What do I do with LeBron James? Like, usually when you make these decisions, you have a playoff run to look at and say, hey, how do we look here, here, and here? And now if this holds the way we think it's going to, you'll have 2 straight seasons where Luka and Reeves were banged up in the playoffs, and then LeBron is kind of the last man standing. If you're the Lakers, how do you go from here?
Yeah, because look, this year is over.
Yeah,
this year's. I don't even think now you're getting out of the first round. Now, I have thought when Luka went down, I thought, okay, with Reeves and LeBron, I still think they could beat Houston. I think that'd be a real close series
because Houston can't score.
Beat Denver or Minnesota.
Right, I would agree.
Now, Minnesota's interesting. Ant still isn't back, you know, so we'll see when he gets back how is he at the top of his game. But if he is, I don't think you can beat them. Certainly not without both Reeves and Luka. Right. So the season is basically over. As great as LeBron was in his first game without Reeves and Luka. But so going forward, I think LeBron wants to stay in LA. I think for personal reasons, family reasons, all of that. And also because you saw in the first game without Luka and Austin, LeBron kind of went back to his role of handling the ball, being the facilitator, scorer, everything, and had 30 points and 15 assists and all that. But no team, I don't see a team in the league that's going to let him have that role next year. Like,
he's not a contending team.
I mean, Cleveland is almost out now. They got James Harden, so that's almost out. But you know, New York, I guess, would New York try it if they go out early this year in the playoffs? I mean, maybe.
I don't think LeBron would want to live in Detroit just based on his recent comments.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, Detroit. I said New York.
Well, any of the Eastern Conference teams based on the way he was
you don't even think he'd go to New York?
I don't think. Well,
I don't think he's ever really wanted to play in New York. Like, remember when everybody thought he might go there when he first had the decision in 2010? So I think he wants to stay home. I think his family settled there, his daughter's growing up. Like, I just think it's a whole different point of his life. So if he's willing, if I'm the Lakers, he has shown, and I actually think that was some impetus for why he started playing the way he's played, before Luka got hurt. When he took the third option role, was a defender, just ran the floor and, was fine and very good in that role. So I think if I'm the Lakers, I'm sitting down with LeBron. If he's willing to play that role and I don't know, $15 million a year, something like that. It's a big pay cut. Have to be a big pay cut. And obviously he doesn't need money. I'm not saying he should play for free, but I'm just saying if you really want to stay in LA, we do have a team with some moves here and there that maybe can compete. Obviously with Lucas is championship or bust. Then I think maybe he, but I'm not maxing him or anything close to the max. Because as great as they were playing, let's say they maxed Reeves and LeBron and basically came back with the same thing. As great as they were playing, they not winning it. They're not even getting to the finals. Do you agree? Don't you agree with that? Like,
I think they would have had a better chance against the Spurs than OKC. But I wouldn't have picked them. I wouldn't have picked them in either place.
Right. That the Spurs made it. The thing that would have been interesting about that series, and maybe we'll see it in the second round, but the thing that would have been interesting is just the difference in experience.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it would have been.
Yeah, and so that's just an unknown that would have been interesting and maybe gave the Lakers a chance. But you're right. Like OKC, they obviously have no chance. And I think just on paper, they don't have a chance against the Spurs. And I even think Denver, obviously now without Luka and Reeves, but even with them, that would have been a really great series that could have went either way. So my point is the Lakers need to add some young athletes, some shooters, some defenders. And if I pay LeBron a small amount, then I can maybe still go get some of that. If not, if he's not willing to take that, then I think you let him go. Because you gotta, they need to start trying to win championships.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Wemby and the Spurs are only going to get better. OKC's probably only going to get better. And Minnesota's only going to get better. I think, they need to start building this team around Luka in the way that it fits. And look, it's on the table. Luka does not win a championship.
Yeah.
As great as he's all-time great. But that's definitely on the table. So they have to build this team, the kind of the perfect team around him. And LeBron could be a part of that at a lower salary, but certainly not at this age at a max salary or anything close.
Yeah, because the thing with Luka is I think we can agree that he's somewhere within the top 5 players, and it might be interchangeable, 1 through 5, however whatever your preference is. If you like Wemby more, whatever, you can all agree that.
I think the best players in the world are not in the order, but Jokic, Luka, Wemby, and Giannis and Shea.
Sure.
Now, if you want to take Giannis out, injury, we don't know where he's at, but Shea, those other 4, I think that's indisputable.
Right. And so, but what I'm saying is that if you think Wemby's the better player, if someone says Luka, you might disagree, but you're not going to fight them over it. You might be like, okay, I see why you would say that, whatever. But what Wemby and Shea have going for them is the way that their rosters are built around them are so compatible and they're young and athletic and they fill a lot of gaps that maybe those guys aren't ready to fill just yet. You know what I mean? And the thing that you're seeing with Milwaukee, especially with Giannis and with the Lakers to a lesser extent with Luka, is they don't have it built the way it's supposed to. So it doesn't matter how good this guy is because we can't compete with those 2 teams because they're just built better than us.
Yeah, and I also think that Giannis and Luka, as great as they are, they have a couple of flaws that the other guys don't have. And maybe some people say, well, then you put the other guys ahead of them. I'm not making that argument now, but I'm saying Giannis can't shoot.
No.
That's a weakness. As great as he is, and he does all these other things, I think he's like a top 20 player all time, all that, but he can't shoot. And so that makes it, but yet he's not inside on the block. So he's handling the ball a lot. He's on the perimeter, but he can't shoot. So that makes it okay. We have to build uniquely around him.
Sure.
And then Luka, because he is so ball dominant and so the heliocentric style of play, that's hard to build around. I mean, you just saw what LeBron did in the game when Luka and Austin didn't play, just the first game without them against Dallas. He can't do that with Luka.
Right.
You know what I mean? Jalen Brunson couldn't. We had no idea Jalen Brunson had what he had with Luka. And when you have a ball dominant guy who shoots a ton, that is just it's a different. You have to build very carefully around them. LeBron was ball dominant in his prime, and you had to build very carefully around him. And so I think that is a unique situation. Like when you look at Wemby and the Spurs, I actually think they don't play enough through Wemby.
They really don't. He didn't even play enough minutes to be featured offensively.
Yeah, I mean, right. And it'll be interesting to see if those minutes go up in the playoffs and how they handle that. But they don't play through him. He's like and I like the fact that it's an egalitarian offense and all 5 players feel like they have the green light because they do have some talent. But there are times they need to go through him.
Right.
But the fact is he gets his offense in the flow. And that is great because it allows your other talented players to be kind of the best version of themselves. And Jokic has the ball every possession, but he's moving it. He's not just pounding it like Luka. And so I think that those two, they're easier to build around with. Now, that said, Jokic hasn't had a ton of playoff success.
No.
You know, he's been to the conference finals twice.
When you consider where he's being talked about all time, you would think he has 3 or 4 championships.
Right. And and that's where, that's not like we've given him just about all the individual accolades we can.
Right.
To get to the next level, he's going to have to start winning. Now, in fairness, he hasn't had a Kobe like Shaq did. He hasn't had a Magic like Kareem did. And Russell obviously had Cousy and a bunch of Hall of Famers.
And he hasn't batted playoffs. He shows up every time. It's just, sometimes they just lose, and it is.
So that's where a guy that, and maybe it has something to do with him being international, but he hasn't complained. He hasn't been like, y'all better get me some more help. Like, you know what I mean? Like not putting that pressure. He's never shown any inclination to leave Denver. Not putting that pressure on the team allows them to relax a little bit in the front office. And they're like, we got one championship, which we've never had.
Right.
Our fans show up every single night, pack the arena. We're the toast of the town because we got the best player in the league. Like the front office can relax.
Like we're good. Yeah.
Yeah. And so maybe he needs to put more pressure on them, but they got a chance this year. And, if Gordon stays healthy and they're healthy.
Yeah. So one team, the perception this offseason was that they relaxed. And then now we find out they did anything, but that's the Boston Celtics. Like we all thought it was a gap year. Like, hey, I thought they'd make the playoffs. I didn't think they'd be this good. I thought they'd be a 7-8 seed and, we'll see what happens. Right. Now that we've had about a month, 3 to 4 weeks of Jason Tatum, do you believe that as constructed with him still kind of working out the kinks that they can be the Eastern Conference representative in the finals?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I actually think I would not pick them right now ahead of OKC. And I probably might rank the Spurs ahead of them. Again, experience, we never know. But they should, and they could win it all. I actually think they could win it all. They've played OKC tough, obviously. I think they split. And OKC won the game by 2 points that it won, I believe.
They won by double digits, yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that they should be the favorite in the East. Now, the Knicks have a shot. I don't think the Knicks-Celtics series will be like it was last year. I think the Celtics, Celtics were running through the league. Everybody felt like, man, it's academic. They're going to win it. Maybe they got a little full of themselves. But I think they will. I don't think that series will go that way. But I think Cleveland, I on paper, they have as much talent as anybody in the East. But Harden and even Donovan Mitchell, who puts up numbers in the playoffs, hasn't gotten, that far in the playoffs himself. So, and they've just been mentally weak in the postseason,
right?
The current people. And so I don't think they'll win the East. And Detroit, though, I
like Detroit.
I think they actually have a shot too.
I like Detroit.
Yeah. If Cade comes back at full strength, then they got a shot. I was picking them before Cade got hurt, before Tatum got back. But I think Detroit and Boston are the two best teams in the East. But I understand, and I think Boston should be favored. Look, Missoula is a mad scientist.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the players they're running out there with no disrespect to them, but my goodness, I mean, they defend. You better defend your butt off if you want to play, and we shoot the three. And the three, we got two guys that can beat you off the dribble, and even Pritchard can beat you off the dribble. But guys that can beat you off the dribble, create their own shot, create shots for others as they penetrate and kick. And then we got a plethora of three-point shooters. And we defend our butts off. So their formula is great, and I credit Missoula for that.
Yeah, that's one thing I think that a lot of casual fans may not understand about Boston, Detroit, and in the West, obviously the Spurs and OKC is playing hard is a skill. And these guys, as much talent as these teams have, some more than others, is every time you play them, you know what you're going to get. Yep. They might not win every game, but they're going to play hard. They're going to be all up in you. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to be physical. And on a Tuesday night in Orlando, you don't want to see that. Right. You know what I'm saying? And those teams, and I think Detroit especially, they get this reputation. Well, they don't have the talent. That's why, this is going to be Tibbs Bulls all over again. But if you watch them play, like Cade obviously is an all NBA first team kind of guy. Duren is really good.
Yeah.
Like absolutely. He might be the best big man in the East now, just the way that his progression is going.
Yep.
And if they're healthy, like they can give anybody a run for their money just because of the style they play, the physicality, and they have more talent than you think.
Yeah, and when you those teams you mentioned, OKC has had, I'm not saying they'd be championship contenders without these guys for our season, but for the little stretches where those guys have been injured, OKC is one without Shea, San Antonio's one without Wemby, Detroit has one without Cade, and who was the other team you mentioned?
Boston.
Boston obviously is one without Tatum, and it's because they defend, and like I said, that is their culture. And so you look at OKC, Jalen Williams missed most of the season. It's like their guys are interchangeable. AJ Mitchell, Lou Dort, whoever you throw in there, they're going to get after it. They're going to defend, and they're going to be able to hit some threes. Same in San Antonio. San Antonio, I think, will be the first team ever to have 8 players average in double figures.
Wow.
And then they got Luke Cornett's not one of those 8. And then Carter Bryant, the rookie, is not one of those 8. So they got 10 deep that can legitimately go in there and give them great minutes. Detroit is just coming at you in waves with defenders. Anybody that's played ball at a fairly high level, I'm talking high school and above. When there are teams that are athletic and energetic, quick, and pick you up full court, that is a hassle. You do not want to deal with that. You do not. You saw the Lakers against OKC.
Oh, yeah.
They had trouble getting it up court at times. I felt for Bronny. It was a nightmare for him running the court. I've been in that position where it's just like, man, get this game over with. Like, these dudes are all over the place. And that's what they do. And that travels. And that's why an injury here or there, even to one of their top players, they just keep it moving, at least for a short time during the regular season.
All right, last question, 30-second answer. I'm assuming, based on what you're saying, that you're picking OKC to repeat.
I haven't made my official pick. I'm leaning okay. I really want, because and I like seeing history. So you see, I have this Michigan shirt on. My daughter, as you know, went to Michigan. but she ain't really into. She hadn't been paying attention this year. I was talking to her the other day. I was like, look, if you're not paying attention, my heart, I'm torn because Michigan got so much of my money. Like
you're one of the donors, yeah.
Right. But I would love to see, and I'm not like any huge Dan Hurley fan. I'm certainly not a UConn fan.
Right.
But just the fact that he could win 3 titles in 4 years, and now there's an argument that he's the best modern coach or coach in modern college basketball history, men, since Wooden, because Wooden's the only other one to do 3 and 4, and to do it in this era of the NIL, the portal, one and done, all that. So I loved seeing Tom Brady win 7 when no franchise has 7 Super Bowls. So I like that type of history. So honestly, I would like to see Wemby win it this year and start some kind of historic, you know what I mean? Just do a historic run. But I feel like right now, OKC kind of has to be the pick in the West. But look, and I know regular season, I've seen teams sweep a regular season, an opponent, and then lose to them in the playoffs. So it doesn't always correlate, but we don't know. They might have OKC's number.
And it's just
they
like that
certainly do in a regular season, but they might in the playoffs. So right now I'm slightly, just it's this close, OKC, but I may end up picking San Antonio when I make my official pick in a few weeks.
He reserves the right to change his mind. All right. Thank you so much, Chris Broussard. First things first, Emmy nominated. Check out the King Movement. Get your merch because I have some merch in my car.
Yeah, boy, I might need to send you some more merch. I see you sporting. That's nice.
I do love it. All right, Chris. Thank you so much for joining the Restricted Area, man.
Keep up the great work, man. Peace.